How to buy your first house ever. Well, that's what we're talking about today, and we're going to be starting right now. My name is Kyle No, and I'm with First United Realty. One of the most important things to do when you're buying a home is just to make sure you've laid a solid foundation for starting the process. If you don't get started on the right foot, there can be a lot of stress involved in the process, and that's not a good thing if you're a first-time buyer. You certainly don't want to set yourself up for having a very stressful experience. One of the first things we talk about is your credit. Credit's very important when you buy a home. There's lots of different things out there that will stop you from buying a home if you have the wrong kind of credit. Your credit scores have to be a certain amount. There's lots of things involved. But just to give you an idea, generally speaking, a credit score is 640 is kind of the base starting point if you're getting a home loan. You can get a loan with lower scores than that, and you can get some other loans that are maybe even a little notch above if your credit scores are higher than that. But that's kind of the base point. And if your scores are just a little bit lower than that now, that's fine. Sometimes there's things that we can do to get those scores up pretty quickly. So if you're not yet at a 640, doesn't mean that you can't still get into a home in the next 3 to 6 months. But that's one of the first steps, where you're at in your credit. One of the next things that we have to talk about is how much money do you need to buy a home? This is determined by a lot of things. Your eligibility depending on maybe if you're a Native American, maybe if you're a veteran, maybe if you're a first-time buyer. There are all sorts of different programs out there that have different down payment requirements. First-time buyers sometimes have down payment assistance programs, so maybe you can get into a home for as little as $500 total out-of-pocket costs. Some of the special Native American programs have very low down payments, and then if you're a member of a tribal card or you hold a tribal card, tribes do offer down payment assistance too. So sometimes you can get in for under $1,000 on the Native American loan programs. If you're a veteran and you're buying a home, that's 100% financing. The seller can pay your closing costs. So a lot of times if you're a veteran, you can walk into a home with less than $500 out of your pocket. Sometimes actually no money down at all. So there's lots of different options. That's one of the things you want to do is explore what your options are so you can make sure that you get into the program that's best for your situation. And then last but not least is your employment history. If you don't have a very solid employment history, or maybe you're a little shaky on the job you're in right now may not be the right time to be buying your first home. But if you're steady in your job, you've been on it for a year or two, and it looks like continued employment possibilities are good, then it may be time that you think about quit paying rent and get yourself into a home. But anyway, that's the first part of the equation is, are you financially ready? After that, one of the other things is you want to find yourself a great realtor. If you find yourself a great realtor, that can go a really long ways to making the process smooth and hassle-free and stress-free. And as I said, there's nothing worse than having a stressful home buying experience, especially if you're a first-time buyer. So finding yourself a good realtor. If you're buying a home, that means finding a realtor that's used to working with buyers. You don't want to go out and find somebody that just lists house and then all of a sudden they're going to help you assist you in buying a house. If they're not experienced with working with buyers, that may not be a great combination for you. But anyway, what's their experience in helping buyers? You want somebody that has the experience and expertise involved, and somebody with a long history of helping buyers. One of the other things that is very important is making sure that they have some good lender contacts. You want to be sure that you get with the right lender, because not all lenders have all of the same programs. You want to be able to make sure that you get to a lender that not only has lower interest rates, low fees, but also have the right programs that fit your situation, because that can be very, very important to you. So getting to the right lender is very important. And if your realtor has a good history with different lenders, they should be able to help you get in the right direction with the right lender, because that can be all important. Last but not least is once you've found yourself a good realtor, you want to make sure that you get to the lender and get yourself pre-approved. There's financial strategies that will help you have the best experience. But if you don't get to the right lender and get yourself pre-approved, you might be setting yourself up for some real problems down the road. And that's not a good thing, again, when you're a first-time buyer. So we want to help you get to the right lender so you get the right program and you have a good experience with your lender. Anyway, those are the three things that are the most important thing to do when you're first starting to lay your foundation for the home buying process. Those are all things that are very important. None of them are more important than the others. They're all important, and they'll all lead to a stress-free process if it's done right and you have the proper realtor working in your corner. Anyway, I hope that gives you a little bit of a foundation for the process. That's just the first part in the three-part series. We'll have parts 2 and 3 here before too long. If you have any questions, you can always call me at 405-210-5319. I'm always available to answer your questions. Even if you've already got a realtor, but you just want a second opinion, hey, I'm here to help. Thanks again for watching the video. Pass it along to a friend if you know somebody else that's thinking about buying a home. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day out there, and I look forward to talking to you sometime soon. Bye-bye.